Alright guys, welcome back to SouFLoTV again everybody. It is your host with the most. This morning we wanted to talk about this immigration swelling at the borders, chaos at the borders, and protecting the borders in the United States of America, stemming from a story that broke in Jamaica yesterday about a Jamaican man that was found dead on the streets of Mexico. Now, it has become common knowledge that a lot of Jamaicans are actually fleeing Jamaica in the thousands with hopes of making it to the United States of America. And from there, they will probably venture off into other places like Canada, and some will even make it all the way to the UK. But Belize and Panama are the two entry points making it into Mexico, since there is no direct flight from Jamaica straight into Mexico. So Belize has spoken out against this, or on the topic rather, and so has Panama. Many Jamaicans have entered their ports and have not been seen since. Right? Okay. There's something called Title 42. And this video today is to give people an understanding of what is going on with the immigration system and what is going on with Title 42 expiring and what will happen next. Right now, this morning, May 11th, 2023, the headline for CNN on CNN.com actually says asylum officers, Secret Service agents, and soldiers, troops, have surged towards the border with Title 42's expiration only hours away. What does that tell you? Why would we be sending Secret Service agents and sending soldiers and asylum officers to the border as Title 42 is about to expire? It simply says that we are expecting there to be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people at the border trying to make it into the United States of America. Why would they even think that this is possible, could be done, and they might be facilitated to the point where they could just walk up to the border, tell their story, and receive asylum or an asylum hearing? Well, all that will be explained in this video. So to corner things in, let's start with why nationalities matter as the U.S. braces for migration surge. You gotta listen to this, and shout out to the Jamaica Loop for putting this together nicely for us. So, decades ago, it was a safe bet that anyone stopped by U.S. authorities at the southern borders, they were probably Mexicans. Well, that's no longer so, complicating Joe Biden's administration efforts to prevent a swell of migrants when it lifts the pandemic-related asylum limits next week. That's this week. That's today. That's Title 42. That's what we're speaking about today. Now that Title 42 is ending, the surge is on. Now, people come from dozens of countries with large showings from Peru, Venezuela, Haiti, India, Russia, and elsewhere. So usually, we could say majority of the people trying to come across were Mexicans. Not anymore. Mexico has become a port, a conduit. So these people are traveling from other places, like I explained earlier. Jamaicans making their way into Belize and Panama only with the intention of making their way into Mexico so they can cross the Mexican border over into the United States of America. So nowadays, most of these people who are crossing at the Mexican border, when you see that large crowd of people, we automatically assume it's Mexicans trying to get out of Mexico, but it's actually people from Peru, Venezuela, Haiti, India, Russia, and other places around the world. Only about a third now are actually from Mexico. So it is down from 85% in 2011. Now, with the expiration set for May 11th of Title 42, May 11th being today, this is what the Title 42 is. I know a lot of people are saying, what is Title 42? Title 42, suspended migrants' rights to asylum in the United States of America. That means do not come to our borders. You will not be able to get asylum that way. And that was put in place under the Donald Trump administration to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Because, you know, we had COVID, we were on lockdown. You wouldn't want thousands of people coming in at the border. You don't know who has COVID. You don't know. So it was put in place for that measure, right? Well, since it is about to expire today, more people are expected to arrive. Illegal crossings tumbled after President Joe Biden announced asylum restrictions in January, but they have risen again since mid-April. Brandon Judd, who is the president of the National Border Patrol Council, said that they have been hovering around 7,200 people daily, which is up from 5,200 in March. April, 7,200 daily. Now we are in May. It is set to go way above that. Now imagine the United States of America taking in 7,200 people daily who are seeking asylum here. It is swelling at the seams, and it's only a matter of time before those seams burst. Well, that's how a lot of people are looking at it anyways. One person said, it is so crazy that these people, they do not vote. They do not hold power in the United States of America. They don't work, pay taxes, vote, none of that. But they affect the outcome of our elections severely, which is true, because now the elections are going to be about who's able to protect our borders, who is able to keep illegal immigrants and migrants out. And then you're going to have people telling their stories about how their son was killed by an illegal alien or an illegal migrant. And then you're going to have people who are talking about how the crime rate has gone up because of illegal migrants and the need to keep American people protected by securing our borders. That is where the large part of the political argument is going to be when it's time to choose who will be our next president. So the administration plans to rapidly screen migrants and quickly send home those who don't qualify. Understand this. Once Title 42 expires tonight, All right, so illegal crossing, right, is one thing. But when you have the Biden administration that's telling people that this is what we're going to do, we're going to work stuff out quickly at the border. We're going to work stuff out quickly at the border. That means you can get a screening for asylum right there on the spot at the border, as opposed to how it was done before. If someone was seeking asylum before, they had to go through a whole different channel to file for asylum. Under the Biden administration, you could file for asylum at the border, basically, or you can qualify for asylum at the border, right? So illegal crossings tumbled after Joe Biden announced asylum restrictions in January, but then they rose again in April. By mid-April, Brandon Judd, who is the president of the National Border Patrol Council, said that they have been hovering around 7,200 daily, which is up from 5,200 in March. So now that we're in May, that is going to jump probably another 2,000 to 3,000, and we will be at 10,000 a day. 10,000 migrants coming through the borders, seeking asylum and being let in. So the administration planned to rapidly screen migrants and quickly send home those who don't qualify. This is why people are taking their chances. This is why Jamaicans are going to Belize and going to Panama. Belize and Panama are pretty nice places to live, actually, right? But the dream is to make it into America. And for the third, fourth time, like I've repeated, there is no direct flight out of Jamaica into Mexico. But Mexico is where you cross into the U.S. So Jamaicans are just using it as a conduit through Belize and Panama to enter Mexico, then enter into the US by getting to the border and crying at some story. I don't know, maybe I'm bisexual, I'm homosexual, and I'm being persecuted in my country and I cannot live a free life being myself, so I'm on the run. People are trying to kill me just because of my sexuality. This is a common story that is told. Amongst that, there are other stories. People have lost their houses because they come from gang infested communities and they've lost family members. They've burnt down their houses. They are after them. Some people will show up at the border saying that my life is in danger. They killed my two brothers. They killed my sister. They killed my mom. They said that I'm next. That kind of stuff. It'll be up to the administration at the border to verify the information that's given to them and then say, okay, you need asylum. You need to come into the US. Or we don't believe your story. You're going to have to go back to your country. That's what's going on. Now, the administration plans to rapidly screen the people, but people will be treated differently depending on their nationality. This is where you got to pay attention to this. So look at how the plans vary depending on where the migrants are from. There's one group that is called CHNV. Not a catchy acronym. CHNV stands for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. They are grouped into one group. In December, these four nationalities accounted for 40% of all the people that were stopped at the border. By March, they made up only 3%. So the Biden administration announced in January 5th to be exact, that up to 30,000 people from those four countries could enter on parole every month if they applied online first and then they had a financial backer in the US. You got some family members here that's making some money. They vow to help to take care of you, your daily expenses, food, clothes, shelter, and you're trying to get over. You can come on through. Mexico agreed to take back the same amount numbers, 30,000, from those countries who entered the U.S. illegally. Texas and other Republican-led states, they have challenged this. They said this is a broad use of parole authority, and a trial is actually scheduled to start in court June 15th in Victoria, Texas. It is no wonder that you see the Texas governor and Florida's governor doing things like chartering buses and sending these migrants to what they call blue states, right? So in the US, politically, you have Red Party, which is the Republican Party, Blue Party, which is the Democratic Party. And since it is the Biden administration that is being faulted for this, for telling these people that, listen, Title 42 expires, come on through, we will quickly screen you at the border, and now we are accepting about 10,000 a day or 7,200 per day. We're not keeping these people in Florida. That is what DeSantis said. DeSantis was like, okay, since you're the president, this is what you want to do. You're not going to overcrowd my state, overrun my state with a bunch of people, migrants, coming flooding into my state and into my cities in my state. So we're going to take these people, put them on a bus, and send them to one of the blue states that agrees with your plan. Texas governor followed through and said, we're doing the same thing too. Now they're going to be fighting it in court. Anyways, Mexico said late on Tuesday that it would continue taking back people from those four countries who were expelled from the United States. That means if they hit the border and the U.S. authorities says, hey, you can't come in, we don't believe your story, we can't give you asylum, then Mexico is like, okay, come on back and then make your way back to wherever you got to go, right? Combined with parole for those who apply outside the United States, it is a carrot and stick approach that was first applied to Ukrainians after the Russia's invasion. Cuban, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans have benefited from their government's refusal to accept deportation flights. Cubans, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans have benefited from their government's refusal to accept deportation flights. Jamaica has not benefited. Jamaica accepts every deportation flight that comes from the UK, Canada, the United States of America, or wherever else Jamaicans are being deported from back into Jamaica. Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cubans, they said, nope, keep them. We're not accepting any deportation flights. Though Cuba accepted its first deportation flight since December of 2020, on Monday, they have pledged to accept no more. Somebody says they have pledged to accept more. Another news entity says they have pledged to accept no more. I don't know if it's more or no more. Anyhow, Haiti is racked right now by gangs and gun violence. And it's just not looking pretty in Haiti right now, making flights there a major challenge. However, we see what's going on in Haiti, but Haitians are still getting sent back in record numbers. Central America's Northern Triangle. Families and unaccompanied children from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, they largely drove migration to the U.S. border throughout the last decade. Then came Title 42. Mexico agreed to take back people from what are known as Northern Triangle countries from the start of Title 42 in March of 2020. Many have been waiting months, some even years, for the Title 42 to end. The U.S. has long, deep relationships with governments in that region, which, while expensive and time-consuming, makes it relatively easy to fly people home. Guatemala and Honduras, they accepted half of all U.S. removal flights last year, 727 flights combined. According to witnesses at the border, a group that tracks flights. Now, on Tuesday, the U.S. said that it would admit 100,000 people from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador who are coming for family reunification. 100,000, and that's just from Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. Wow, I know right now, American citizens, especially those who are way right and are not for this whole migration thing, they're pulling their freaking hairs out right now, right? And I know inside of the immigrant communities, a lot of them are probably rejoicing right now because they're like, finally, my family members have a chance to come across. Mexicans, in some way, a shared land border that stretches from San Diego to Brownsville, Texas, makes Mexico or Mexicans the easiest to remove because they're right there. They're right next door. It's a short drive to the nearest official border crossing, and they let them out, and they're like, yo, get your ass back across the border. Go home. Also, unaccompanied children from Mexico and Canada, they are not covered by a 2008 anti-trafficking law that grants special legal protection to children who are traveling alone from other countries. They're not protected under this, so they are immediately or quickly sent home. But Mexicans have also been protected from some of the most restrictive policies, like a virtual asylum ban on all those who travel through another country to the U.S. border. That wouldn't apply to Mexicans because they don't have to travel through anybody's border. Their border meets the U.S. border. So they try, they fail, they try again, they fail, they keep trying until they get through. A final version of that measure is expected before May 11th, today, and to be quickly challenged in court as well. Everyone else, this includes Jamaicans and everybody else. Everyone else, Mexicans and people from Central America, Northern Triangle countries, accounted for barely half of all the people that were stopped at crossing the Mexican border illegally in March, representing a major change in just a few past years. Explanation for the others who make up the other half varies by nationality. Russians for some reason that are unclear, have been among the top winners of 740 slots that were made available at U.S. border crossing with Mexico under what's called the CBP-1. So the Russians got some special privileges, right? And a lot of people are saying, yeah, because they are the only group of non-melanated people. In other words, they're the only group of white people that are there. So they quickly created some slots for them and got them up out of there. While all the other black and brown people, they have to struggle, go through an interview, be rejected, go back home. Some are going back home thousands of miles and hopping, skipping through 2 different countries to get back home. But any white people came through that border, they were accepted. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just saying. A mobile app that was introduced for asylum seekers in January is what a lot of people are saying the Russians were using. U.S. officials say that they are the top nationality on the app, along with Haitians and Venezuelans. So if you know about the app, you can actually apply for asylum through the app. It's called a CBP-1. C as in Charlie, B as in boy, P as in party, 1, O-N-E, CBP-1. That's the mobile app that was introduced for asylum seekers in January. So it's getting crazy at the border right now, right? And like I told you before, this morning when I woke up, here it was on CNN. Asylum officers, Secret Service agents, and troops have surged towards the border with Title 42's expiration only hours away. It is set to expire tonight. Now, just a brief of what's on CNN so you understand more of what's happening. With just hours left before the Title 42 expires Thursday night, which is tonight, the U.S. is wrapping up a surge of asylum officers, troops, and federal agents towards the southern border, anticipating the Trump-era border restriction policies' demise could spur an even higher migrant influx than the country had already seen in recent weeks. About 1,000 asylum officers were being sent to the border and immigration detention facilities to help screen asylum requests. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro said that Wednesday, and U.S. Secret Service agents and U.S. Marshals, among other federal workers, also are expected to deploy to help border authorities. 2 Homeland Security officials told this to CNN. That's on top of the 550 U.S. troops, mostly from the Army, that began a mission on Wednesday to support Customs and Border Protection staff at the U.S.-Mexico border, where officials said that they will help to monitor the border and provide data entry and warehouse support, but not perform law enforcement duties. So they're not there to do law enforcement duties. They're there to collect data and there to pretty much help the border protection people to make sure that things go smoothly. We are clear-eyed about the challenge we are likely to face in the days and the weeks ahead, which have the potential to be difficult, says the president of the Immigration Naturalization Authorities. The U.S. expects to see a large number of migrants at the southern border for weeks to come. So there's no slowing down in this. The Title 42 policy is a 2020 policy that officials said was aimed at stopping the spread of COVID and has allowed U.S. authorities to swiftly return migrants who they encountered at the border to their home countries and send them back into Mexico if that's where they were trying to come through, with some exceptions. This is set to end 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, which is today, on the 11th of May. And officials have been warning the expiration could attract a surge of migrants and worsen an already challenging humanitarian crisis at our southern borders. Authorities have expelled migrants at the U.S.-Mexican border more than 2.8 million times under Article 42 since the policy began. 2.8 million have been turned away. Now, you got to ask yourself, can America afford to take in 2.8 million people and give them asylum? I mean, what goes with asylum? Who's responsible for their day-to-day care after they are taken into the country? You got to understand that you have American, hardworking, tax-paying people that are punching the air right now, right? Some of them are even misguided and misled and under the impression, miseducated, that these asylum seekers are all going to come here and get houses to live in for free and get medical bills paid for free and get food and all the other stuff for free. And it is probably not even so. U.S. border authorities encountered more around 10,400 migrants along the U.S. southern border on Tuesday. This is Tuesday, this Tuesday that just went by. 2 days ago, on the 9th, there was a caravan of over 10,400 migrants at the southern border on Tuesday. This is according to Homeland Security officials. And they said that the number is continuing to uptrend, meaning it's getting more and more and more. So again, if you want to know what's going on, why are Jamaicans leaving Jamaica in the thousands? Why are they ending up in places like Belize and Panama? Why is Belize and Panama having something to say about how their border is being used to enter into Mexico and then to do illegal immigration, it's called, into the United States of America, making them seem like they are contributing to it? This is what is going on. Everybody has their eyes set on Title 42. And when Title 42 lifts, they will be heading for the U.S. border. Shout out to everybody that tunes in to SouFLoTV. Shout out to everybody that tuned in this morning to the live. This is what we were supposed to discuss this morning, but the live kept on breaking up and we could not. Right? And I didn't want to go on with the live and you not be able to hear clearly the information that I was about to give to you. We also spoke about the dangers of traveling that far and then trying to cross over into the United States of America. Now, you got to understand this too. There are people who are marching right up to the border with a sob story and they're trying to seek asylum. There are other people who are not trying to seek asylum. They're trying to do a complete illegal entry. Climb over a wall, go through a tunnel, run across some place and run off into Brownsville, Texas, and that kind of stuff, right? Just like how they used to take a raft from Cuba or Haiti, sail the seas, lay low, undetected, and they would wash up on the beaches in North Miami Beach or in Miami Beach. And then once they washed up on the beach, they would run away from their rafts and make it into the crowd. A matter of fact, they had something back in Florida back in the day called wet foot, dry foot. Meaning, if authorities caught the individual that came off that raft and their feet were still wet, you were taken to an immigration facility. If you made it into the crowd, your feet are dry, they don't come after you. So from there, you can go seek asylum and try to get your paperwork straight so you become legal citizen in the country. And there is a path to becoming legal somehow. Some people would have done it through marriage. Some people would have done it through many different ways. But get an attorney, work under the table, illegal employment, which DeSantis from Florida has shut that completely down. Because nobody is allowed to hire anybody anymore unless the people you hire that are foreign are verified through a e-verify system. So if they run up in your business and you have employees that work there and they were not verified through the system that is established, you can end up losing your whole business, going to prison, get charged with human trafficking, all other kinds of stuff, right? So This video explains to you why DeSantis, the governor of Florida, has been doing what he's been doing. This also explains to you what's going on at the borders. Why is the crowd coming through? It also explains to you what Title 42 is all about, when it was established, when it will expire, and what it means for its expiration. I'll catch you on another video. It's SouFLoTV. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and help us to continue to grow as we bring you meaningful content. I'm out. Peace.